Now, from the WCCO Live Desk, you're watching CBS News Minnesota.
Hey, good morning. I'm Maria Lizignoli, and it's 10 o'clock live in the WCCO newsroom. I'm here at the Live Desk each weekday morning at this time with live updates and breaking news. Well, this just into our newsroom this morning. All 21 passengers injured in the plane crash in Toronto are now out of the hospital, according to Delta. The airline just released a statement saying, quote, "The Delta and Endeavour families are grateful that all those injured Monday have been released from the hospital, and we extend our thanks to everyone who provided care to them over the past few days. We will continue to contact and connect one-on-one with customers, employees, and loved ones as we move forward to make sure their needs are met with care." And now the passengers who survived the Delta plane crash in Toronto are in for a major payout. You know, the aircraft flipped over. We saw this video all of Monday and Tuesday, all week in fact. It landed upside down after going onto the runway in wintry conditions. All the passengers have now been offered $30,000. A Delta spokesperson said the offer has no strings attached and doesn't affect passenger rights. Of the 80 people on board, 21 were hurt, all now out of the hospital. They all survived, thanks in part to a heroic man from Minnesota.
Drop it. Come on.
Now, Peter Carlson was one of the people, along with the flight crew, who helped keep everyone calm and get off the plane safely. He's a 20-year veteran paramedic from Minnesota. He was heading to a conference for paramedics in Toronto. That's where he got this special recognition last night. The wreckage of the plane has finally been removed from the runway in Toronto, and the cause of this crash is still under investigation. This morning, police need your help finding a missing woman. Take a look at this video. It's the only video we have of her. This is Mary Andrews. She's 69 years old and suffering from Alzheimer's. She was last seen on 1818 Lowry in this full-stop gas station last night around 8:30. She doesn't have a phone or a vehicle, and she was last seen wearing a black jacket and gray sweatpants, as you see here. If you see her, please call 911. In the last 2 hours, Democratic senators spoke out against Kash Patel's nomination to be director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Senator Amy Klobuchar was listed as a speaker in this press conference, but she was not there. So take a listen to what the senators had to say from outside the FBI headquarters building.
We stand outside the building that Mr. Patel on one day plans to, quote, shut down and reopen the next day as a museum of the deep state. That is one of many of the bizarre political statements made by the man who is asking for 10 years as director of the FBI. After meeting with Mr. Patel and reviewing his record, and questioning him at the hearing, I'm convinced he's neither the experience, the judgment, nor the temperament to lead the FBI.
This afternoon, the Republican-controlled U.S. Senate is set to vote on whether to confirm Kash Patel as FBI director. Patel cleared the Senate Judiciary Committee last week by a 12-10 party line vote. He is expected to be confirmed unless more than 3 Republican senators vote against him. Today, Minnesota lawmakers will be looking at how federal action to dismantle the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau could affect the state. It comes as the Trump administration directed the CFPB to halt much of its work earlier this month. So what does this mean for you? Take a look at the main part of the agency's website. Let me pull it up for you here. As of this morning, it says 404 page not found. Now, this independent government agency was designed to protect consumers from corporate fraud and scams. The CFPB officially began operations in 2011 under former President Barack Obama, and officials say the agency had returned over $21 billion to consumers since then. Some concerns Minnesota lawmakers have include how states will access the CFPB's complaint database, as people often file complaints with federal agencies, and what happens when there's little to no oversight on federal banks and credit card companies. The CFPB has a number of recommendations to states, including making state laws against abusive practices, beefing up solutions and tools for enforcement, eliminating certain requirements to pursue claims against companies, extending consumer protections, and revamping private enforcement for privacy violations. The State Senate Commerce Committee plans to meet at 12:30 this afternoon and then share their ideas publicly at 2 o'clock. Blue skies out there right now in downtown Minneapolis. You can see the WCCO Next Weather Tower shining bright red. It's currently 6 degrees outside. Oh my gosh, it is the first time in a while that it hasn't been below 0 as of this time. That's kind of good news. Let's check in with Next Weather meteorologist Joseph Dames for a further look at your forecast.
We are climbing out of the cold. This morning, some locations in western Wisconsin were about 25 to 30 degrees warmer than yesterday morning. All right, so we are doing our best job to get out of that cold air. It's tough to get out of it, usually takes some time, but we're doing it, all right? So this afternoon, do expect temperatures to probably get into the double digits, which we haven't had for some time. All right, warmer weather this weekend too, but that's going to come with some cloud coverage. And heading into early next week, I am anticipating warmer temperatures, but also a chance for a little bit of precipitation as well. I'm going to show you that on one of our weather models here coming up, so just hang in there for about a minute or two. All right, neighborhood highs up to the north today, anywhere from about 9 degrees over towards Detroit Lakes to 20s along the lake there, where the clouds have been streaming through for the morning hours. So the overnight temperatures were a little bit warmer, and we're scouring out that cold air, and it's more obvious here for the eastern portion of Minnesota and western portion of Wisconsin. Still fairly cold out west. Ortonville today at 11, Montevideo today coming in at 11 degrees as well. Redwood Falls extending down the Minnesota River Valley there to Mankato. Temperatures today topping off about 15 degrees. And we'll pretty much hold on to our chance for clear skies and sunshine Friday, as well as the first part of Saturday to begin the weekend there. Notice we're at 23, then we get to 32, and by the time we head into Sunday, it's going to be very close to topping off near 40 degrees. We'll go with about upper 30s to lower 40s for our Sunday forecast. So we'll start seeing signs of some clouds Saturday afternoon into the evening hours. We don't get a lot out of it. Our first system will arrive on Sunday, and I think it mainly impacts areas north of 94, though we may see a couple droplets of rain Sunday evening. We have a better shot, though, on Monday with the next system that moves on in, and that one could produce some very light rain as well on Monday afternoon. I'm not anticipating any snow or a wintry mix at this time, though it's something that we'll have to monitor when the time comes around. And then potentially another one by the time we head into our Tuesday night, leaving us with at least a few opportunities to see something early next week. You can kind of see that light green shade. As I mentioned, it doesn't hold a lot of moisture, so I don't think we're going to get a lot out of this. So you don't have to really worry about that. But if we do see a little bit of rain Monday night and we freeze down or get close to freezing on Tuesday, we may have some problems there on some of the clover leaves, bridges, things like that. But at this point, I think it's just going to be a little too warm, especially if they're treating the roads. Double digits across the 7-day. That's nice to see, especially after we had such a cold start to the week. Enjoy the warmth.
Thanks, Joseph. We will. All right, there's a new trend. It's called grandma core, and it's making everything old new again. More on that coming up. But first, a sad story. A longtime firefighter is now facing a devastating diagnosis. He's fighting cancer again. But as Jason Rantala shows us, the community is fighting alongside him.
I don't even feel sick. It's getting me. I mean, the cancer was doing its stuff. But I don't feel sick yet.
Being away from the job is certainly an adjustment for Mark Likoski, the almost 24-year veteran Minneapolis firefighter and union president. But the 3 months of quarantine for cancer treatments are doctor's orders.
I feel okay. I feel a little off from the chemo today.
The diagnosis for the blood cancer, multiple myeloma, came 6 months ago. That about 2 years after his surgery for prostate cancer.
Just under 2 years to the day, I get this, and I'm like, Lord, What's up?
Likoski makes a point of living healthy. He doesn't smoke. It left doctors to point to his profession as the likely cause.
He said it's got to be the firefighting stuff, whatever you're sucking in or whatever.
Research by the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health found that firefighters are 9% more likely to get cancer than the rest of us, and 14% more likely to die from it.
How do firefighter groups have all these cancers at percentages higher than the non-firefighter group?
Experts believe it's tied to the toxic smoke from the fires they fight.
You hear that your loved one has a diagnosis like this, you just sort of gasp and hold your breath. And I feel like we've been holding our breath for many, many months.
In the meantime, community members have come up big. An online fundraiser started 2 weeks ago has now raised more than $50,000 to help pay for Likoski's medical bills.
It's been overwhelming.
I don't even have words. I mean, a couple times I've started crying. It just kind of got me. And
It's a fight Likoski says he's determined to win. In fact, he's hoping to be back at work in the next few months.
like everything, I plan on knocking it out.
In Chanhassen, Jason Rantala, WCCO News.